So we're continuing on with the topic of the week, which is mindfulness or awareness on the Eightfold Path. And the subtitle of this talk is A Companion on the Path. About a decade ago, maybe more, I wrote a definition of awareness in my unconventional glossary of Buddhist terms. You can find that glossary on Pine Street Sangha website and probably others of our websites as well. And my definition of awareness was the great elixir when awareness, sati, that's the Pali word, combines with gentleness and curiosity, transformation eventually follows. No need to conquer your problems or fix yourself. Let awareness be the subtle yet powerful change agent. At that time, I chose the word elixir because it seemed like a very strong word. But I really didn't fully unpack it as I don't remember doing that anyway. But just as I was writing this talk, I looked up elixir and I came across one of the definitions, which is a substance capable of changing base metals into gold. Now, let's take that metaphorically. When I think about it that way, it still has some correctness to using that word in the definition. Of course, awareness is not a substance, but it does have some capacity to transform, let's say, what's raw or reactive or unrefined inside of us into something that's more workable, more humane, even more valuable, perhaps even precious. Now, in an early draft of the glossary, I had put awareness first because I thought it belonged there first. It was so important. But then that confused people because, alphabetically, it's not the first A word. It starts with AW. It's farther down in the list. So then I went ahead and I added alphabetize as my first word to maybe help with that confusion. And my definition of that was this glossary is somewhat alphabetical. It is like our inner life. For a while, we can alphabetize, order, and structure and define it. But then we're accosted by wild, chaotic, and creative forces. So as I was kind of reviewing this choice, as I was writing this talk, it still sort of fit for me because this is why we need awareness so that we can more skillfully ride the waves of these wild, chaotic forces. In early Buddhist teachings, this quality of sati, awareness, mindfulness, um, appears again and again across many different lists. And that repetition is not accidental, but rather points to something fundamental. And this series of talks that we've been giving for the last, I don't know, while is on the Eightfold Path. And sati is, of course, on the Eightfold Path. And often when people teach to it, they teach it first on the path. We like to be a little contrarian, so we're teaching it last. Or I'm not exactly sure it came from that motivation, but here it is last. This is the eighth, I mean, that we're teaching to. Um, and the cultivation of sati on the Eightfold Path is what moves us away from dukkha, which is the first ennobling, from the pain, dissatisfaction, and unease that shape so much of our experience, and towards a way that feels more awake, that feels more free, that feels more meaningful, that feels more aligned, all of those words and more. And sometimes we notice awareness by become aware of awareness. So aware of awareness by noticing its absence. Moments when we're lost in reactivity, really, or when we're unaware of what's happening to us internally or those around us. And those moments can feel disoriented and maybe they're even unsafe, kind of like stepping into a busy street without looking. Sati on a different list we is described as a kind of strength, and not strength in the sense of control or force or dominance, but as an inner support, something that steadies us. something we can lean on. At times, it's even protecting us. Um, and, awareness has a grounding effect. We're less easily swept away by emotion or impulse. You can notice a reaction arising without immediately acting upon it. From there, other shifts begin to follow. Awareness supports ethical behavior. And of course, the Eightfold Path is all about ethical behavior. And so it supports it not because we're trying to follow the rules or be good, but because we are aware, more attuned to the impact of our actions. We see more clearly how our words land, how our choices ripple out. Also, awareness allows us to begin to integrate our experience. Again, and this is in the definition, rather than rushing to fix, avoid, or override what is difficult, can stay with it, perhaps long enough to learn from it. So, in the early Buddhist teachings, awareness is sometimes described as a gatekeeper, one who stands at the threshold of the body mind, noticing what enters and what takes hold. Now, I like to imagine this gatekeeper as a companion, steering us towards what's wholesome for us personally, what's wholesome for those who are around us, for other people, for animals, for the earth, for the world. You fill it in. And there's another definition for the word sati, and that is remembering or recollection. You can see how that meaning really just is very aligned with our practice of reflective meditation, because we always spend a dedicated time in reflective meditation remembering what happened, or almost always, I should say, remembering what happened in our meditation, um, recollecting what happened, reflecting upon what happened. And that helps us connect to what we've learned, what we've gone through, what we value, um, and how things develop. So, of course, awareness is not something that we can develop once and then we possess it. That's a nice fantasy, but it's not how it works. Rather, awareness is something that demands ongoing cultivation because our lives are continually pulling us outward, especially nowadays into screens. Oh my goodness, the many screens, into all our responsibilities, all our conversations, and all these demands on our attention. And of course, these screens have been programmed to demand our attention. So without awareness, it's easy to lose touch with our inner world and know what's going on for us and make skillful choices. So it's important to create conditions that help that help and make awareness more available, more possible. That's what our Sangha is all about. And that's what our practice is all about. We are gently inviting us ourselves to turn inward. And so over time, hopefully awareness becomes less of an effortful practice, or maybe it never started that way, but hopefully it becomes more of a reliable presence. So not some kind of ideal we have to measure ourselves, but something we really come to trust, something that walks with us, beside us. True companion on the path. So that is the end of my talk. And we are going to meditate for 30 minutes.